Hey guys! I wanted to share a book with you that I like a lot. It's called The Mushroom Fan Club by Elise. I like it because it has good information and really cute illustrations. So here we go. You know what I love? Walking in the woods and looking for mushrooms with my kids. It's like a treasure hunt that nature organized just for us. I'm obsessed with bizarre creatures, and mushrooms are certainly strange. They look like aliens from outer space. Mushrooms are not plants or animals. They're a kingdom of their own, the realm of fungi. Many mushrooms look like the one I've drawn here, but not all of them. They come in many shapes, sizes, and colors. Their smells differ wildly too. Some stink horribly, others have a delicious perfume. There are some next to my cottage that smell like maple syrup. So here she shows us the parts of the mushroom. The top is the cap. From underneath fall the spores. Some mushrooms have a ring. Here's the stalk. Some you can see the vulva, and underneath the ground grow the mycelium, which is like roots for mushroom. When you try to identify a mushroom, you have to look under its cap. You'll find clues under there. Some have gills that are like paper-thin blades. There are thousands of different mushrooms like this, including the kinds found at grocery stores. Others have little needles, and some have tiny holes, like a sponge. It's through these various types of underbellies that they produce and release spores, which are a bit like seeds. This is how mushrooms reproduce. Some mushrooms grow in the grass, others in dead leaves, or on rotten wood, or even on living trees. Some are so tiny we can't even see them, and others are as big as a baseball field. I don't know them all. There are too many. There are millions of fungus species around the world. She's drawn some of them here. Some people know a lot more about mushrooms than I do. They're called mycologists. I'm no expert. I'm an amateur. I just love looking at mushrooms. The proof that I'm no expert? I draw them with eyes. Yeah, we don't have mouths either. And we can't speak. But I'm not the only one who likes finding mushrooms. Many animals and bugs like them too. When you walk in the woods, you might encounter some of these wild mycologists. Who do you see here eating these mushrooms? You see we have a deer and a bear, some bugs, and a snail thing too.
Action.
Would you like to come for a walk with us? I'll introduce you to some of my mushroom buddies. But first, I'd like you to follow these 2 rules. 1. Protect their environment. Mushrooms are often friends with the plants in the forest, helping them and many animals survive. So be gentle and don't litter. And try not to pick too many mushrooms. Leave some for the slugs and squirrels. And you can always draw a picture of the mushrooms you find, or even take a photo. 2. Don't eat them. Many mushrooms are poisonous. Only grown-up mycologists know for certain which ones are safe to eat. We can make you very, very sick, and even worse. So the first one we're going to introduce you to are the boletes. If you find a mushroom with sponge-like holes under its cap, it might be a bolete. There are many species of boletes, and some are delicious. You can find dried boletes in grocery stores. Some boletes turn blue when we touch them. It's very pretty. Others have a slimy cap like a slug, and some have spots that look like dragon scales. Bugs like boletes a lot, so these mushrooms are often home to hundreds of tiny worms. The chanterelle is one of the first mushrooms I learned to identify. They're very pretty, bright orange, and often grow with a bunch of friends. They're easy to recognize because their caps look like a trumpet. Instead of gills, they have little folds, like an old person's wrinkles. Some mushrooms look like chanterelles, but are very toxic. They're called jack-o'-lantern mushrooms. It's a pretty name, don't you think? The main difference between them is jack-o'-lantern mushrooms have real gills instead of wrinkles. Ah, morels. They are so cute. They look like an alien's brain. I love morels, and when I find some, I jump all over the place and squeal. It's silly, but I can't help myself. It's because I don't find them often. Morels like to grow where there have been forest fires. They love the ashes. They're hard to see because they look like the dead leaves they grow on, or like pine cones. They are hide-and-seek champions. I have found a few morels before. These are from last year. They grow around this time of year. Oh, just like that. My daughter's favorite mushrooms are polypores. These hard mushrooms often grow on tree trunks or roots and can get pretty big. My oldest daughter collects them. We once found one as big as a plate. These mushrooms are cool because you can find them even in the winter. The puffball. The puffball is an interesting specimen. When it's young, it's all white and smooth, like an egg or a golf ball. Then, as it grows up, it turns yellow or brown or gray, and then something funny happens. If you step on it, poof, it bursts into a cloud of smoke, like a cartoon fart. It's their way of freeing their spores. Elegant, isn't it? Some of them are huge, like basketballs. We call them giant puffballs. I'm taking a little break here from sharing facts to draw my daughter stepping on puffballs. It's too fun. I know I said not to destroy mushrooms, but no need to worry about the puffballs. They like it when you step on them. It makes their spores go everywhere, which helps them reproduce. The fly agaric is a very pretty mushroom. I find them all the time. Their caps are red or yellow, depending on where in the world you find them. Illustrators like me love to draw them in picture books. They're so handsome. When they grow, the fly agaric comes out of something that looks like an egg. We call it fly agaric because, a long time ago, people would crush them in milk to repel flies. They're very pretty, but don't eat them. They are toxic. As I was saying earlier, there are so many species of mushrooms. I wish I could tell you about all of them, but that would be a very long book. Instead, I'll tell you about some of the beautiful mushroom names I've come across. Let's see, we have pink disco, cinnamon jelly baby, plums and custard, tiger's eye, turquoise elf cup, powdery piggyback, bitter poison pie, lion shield, cabbage parachute, witch's butter. Just listen to those names! How poetic. They sound like the ingredients for a witch's spell. When we come back from our walks, we put our treasures on the table and look in our books to try to identify them all. It's hard. So many of them look alike. So, did you enjoy our treasure hunt? Would you like to find out more about mushrooms? There are many books about fungi where you'll discover wonders I don't even know about. Check them out at your local library. And don't forget to take lots of walks in the woods. Have fun now. And then she shares some fun mushroom facts. I'll read a few of them to you. In case I still haven't convinced you that mushrooms are cool, there are about 30 species of mushrooms that glow in the dark. The super mushroom from Mario is the poisonous fly agaric. And in Oregon, there's a mushroom that is 2,400 years old. Its mycelium, the underground part of the mushroom, covers a surface bigger than a soccer field. Wow. Mushrooms can be used to make bread, beer, medication, fabric and wool dye, bricks, fake leather, cheese, and much more. And she also shows us how to make a spore print. Aya and Shreya did this right before we left school. Spore prints are very pretty, and the color of the spores can even help you identify the mushrooms. You will need a mushroom, some paper, and a glass or a bowl, which is optional. Remove the stem first. You only need the cap. Put the mushroom cap on a piece of paper with the tubes or gills facing down. Cover it with a glass or a bowl. I usually like to start with black paper because a lot of spores are white or light colored and they show up well on the black paper. Let it sit all night. In the morning you should see a pretty spore print. If you can't see anything, it's because the spores are the same color as your paper. And then you can decorate them, like I did here. Nice view. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story and learned some things about mushrooms, and I hope you go out walking in the woods and find some of your own. I'd love to see pictures of what you find.